Hello, everybody. I'm Mel Dorr, the Aloha Shirt Psychic, coming to you from the suburbs of Chicago. And I have the one, the only Arthur in the house.
Hi, everybody.
Boy, it's been a minute since we've done a show together. But, September, I only did one show during the month of September because, I was on the Rhine River tour. And then we had our Chicago event. So, boom. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to Slovakia to teach.
Oh wow!
So, anyway, but I'm gonna try to do some shows from there. So
I think you should. That would be great.
Yeah. Hi, coming to you live from.
Yeah.
So Arthur, I'm back. Everybody, please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. And please subscribe to Arthur's. I'm going to get back to my Monday night, every other Monday night, because I do Sherry's show every other Monday, to the Aloha Oracle for my members. And so lots of exciting stuff. Aiden is editing our Chicago event. So as soon as he's done with that, then we will give that to all of the presenters, yourself included, Arthur, and they'll be able to show it on their channels as well. I'm going to premiere it on mine for members only. So as soon as he gets that done, then everybody who wasn't able to attend will at least see some snippets of it.
Sounds wonderful.
Yep.
And anybody that didn't get there, Mel is wonderful. Just let you know. He put a great show together, but also I played hall monitor, telling everybody to shush when he was talking, and it was amazing. I just learned so much watching everybody, and such a great group.
All the presenters were good. Arthur, you were the MC. You were incredible. Aiden was wonderful filming. Linda was stellar. Kevin Chandler was stellar. Kevin Lewis was stellar. Kim Copeland was stellar. Deanne was stellar. Everybody was stellar. I wanted it to be like a true Chicago experience because Chicago is really noted for its taverns and its local pubs. And to be in the basement of that, and then to have a piano player the first night was kind of loud, but it was, to get everybody in the mood. And then for the next 2 days, we really worked, but everybody just seemed to love it. And special thank you to Lodge Management and the folks at Pippin's for making it so incredibly successful.
And the reason why the piano was so loud, they had what looked like 2 grand pianos on stage. They were shells. They were electric pianos. Right. So everything was coming over the speakers. So that's why it was so loud.
Right. But it's okay. The guy was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was. He was great.
Everybody got to dance a little and yay.
I even got the phone.
Are we ready to get started?
Yes.
Let's get with our comments first, shall we?
Sure.
Teacher Barbara says, now, Hurricane Milton, as we speak, is barreling down on Florida. And my intuition tells me this hurricane is going to hit pretty much all of Florida, especially the midsection, and continue on over the Atlantic. My guides had shown me many times that with climate change, those storms whipping up through the Gulf, there's going to be more of them, and they're going to be larger and more ferocious. And now I think they've added a category 6 to hurricanes. This one's going to be a 5. And unfortunately, folks in Florida are going to see a lot more of those hurricanes whipping up through the Gulf and, coming into Louisiana and even up the eastern seaboard.
Correct.
This one's going to go across the state. I just want to say to people, we're sending you lots of prayers and healing energy. But please, when the state tells you to evacuate, please evacuate.
Yes.
It's so important.
Yes.
Teacher Barbara says, hi, Teacher Barbara. She's one of our followers. She's incredible. Hurricane Central, she says, my dogs and I evacuated to my parents, but my husband refused and is back at the house. We are just north of Clearwater. Well, I really think he should consider evacuating. The storm surge on this storm is going to be huge. And I also see flooding inland because it's going to.
He may be told to evacuate. I'm going to tell you right now.
Well, the storm surge is going to be so huge, and it's going to be a lot of flooding inland because it's going to there's going to be so much rain. It's going to cause the rivers and the waterways to spill over their banks, and so there's going to be flooding that way too. Not to mention the damage from the wind. So,
Right.
Well,
but they just get worse. And then, when their governor refuses to take the call from the president or vice president, it's pretty crazy.
the other thing I want to touch on is all of this hoopla that Trump has been putting out about that, the Biden administration isn't doing anything. That is the biggest crock of BS I've ever heard. What did Trump do when Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico? He went down there and threw paper towel rolls at people. And I had this conversation with this lady today. Well, the Biden administration isn't doing anything. I said, that's not true. I said, where did you hear it? On YouTube. I said, from whom?
Yeah.
T-Rump. I said, it's a blatant lie. They proved it. And he's politicizing this. He doesn't care about the people that are going to be victims of this hurricane. So my question to you is, do you think Trump's lies about how the Biden administration is handling these hurricanes, do you think it's going to hurt Kamala's chances?
No.
Good.
No, because the army is coming out and saying it's all a lie.
Good.
They're doing press conferences about this.
Of course, Trump's base would, if he said the moon is made of dog dew, they would believe it.
Well, don't forget, when we had the fires in Northern California, he almost refused to give any kind of aid whatsoever until they told him, no, these people voted for you. They showed him how many people in that area had voted because he felt no one voted for him. So he was not going to send aid. Now, could you imagine this person being in charge with the seal of the president?
Well, what did he do when he was president? Threw paper towels at people.
And only gave percentages of when people asked for aid.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Barbara, if you can talk your husband into evacuating, it would behoove him to do so.
Yes.
All right. Our next question would be, thank you, Barbara, for sharing that. Barbara, please keep us abreast on our YouTube community pages, Arthur's and mine, what's going on in Florida, because a lot of people would like to know. And, by putting it on the community board, then people will at least get an idea and maybe help some other people to evacuate.
Right.
Heather J.M. says, California District 3. Will Jessica Morse win her seat and turn this district blue? We have a MAGA congressman now. His mom doesn't speak to him. What do you think, Arthur?
It's close. I do feel if she gets the word out, I feel she can win. That area is, though, kind of Trump crazy, so we'll see. But I do feel she has got a slim chance.
Well, I see a lot more Republicans coming out against Trump. Like, I was surprised when I saw Liz Cheney. Now, I don't like her politics. I admire her chutzpah. Chutzpah means her courage. And by the way, happy holidays to my Jewish friends. Happy Hanukkah, not happy Hanukkah. I think you say Lashon Tova, a good Yom. Happy New Year. And I think Rosh Hashanah just passed, and I think Yom Kippur is coming up. So anyway, let's pray for peace in Israel. But my feeling is, if she gets out and knocks on doors, she could very easily turn this blue.
Well, I do feel that some of the Republicans in that area are strict MAGA, but some of them are not. So we'll see. Well, all we can do is most benevolent outcomes and vote for no matter who.
Like Liz Cheney, I said I don't like her politics, but I saw her in Wisconsin, and she endorsed Kamala.
Yeah.
And other Republicans are going to do the same thing. Some are afraid because even though they're going to vote for Kamala, if they publicly endorse her, they're afraid of Trump. But a lot of them have a certain part of the anatomy to come forward and say, no, we've had it with Donald Trump. So,
well, just like they said during the impeachment, if it had been a secret ballot, he would have been impeached. But since it was not, they're afraid of retaliation from him and his people.
Right. Okay. Cosmic Star. Oh, I like that name. Cosmic Star. That's cool. We have a governor race here in Indiana. Will Jennifer McCormick win? She's a Democrat running against Mike Brown, Republican. I see Mike Brown taking it. I could be wrong.
I'm going to say that. I've read that before, unfortunately.
Well, I don't remember, but
no, I'm for another channel. But I'm doing what I will say is if he gets in, there may be a scandal brewing in 2 years where he gets out.
Huge scandal.
Yeah.
And when you said that, I don't even know if he'll finish out his term.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
At some point, I can see Indiana going more purple than as red as it is. So good. It's just not this election.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, hold on a minute. All right. We're not doing personal questions tonight. We're just doing, world events, politics, things like that. Here, I'll put this up, see what you can pick up on it. Kimberly Canal said, I had the window open 6 or 8 inches. I found a bird in the house later. In about 10 minutes, opened the window full. Spoke, window open. What does it say?
Spoke, window open. Thank you being there. Who was the bird and why were they there?
I don't get that. Spoke, window open.
It sounded like it spoke to the bird and said the window's open.
Oh, I see. I don't know. I just think it just happened to be a bird.
A bird. Yeah.
And I don't really see any major metaphysical meaning to it. But I'm glad the birdie got out. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's about you looking into being an animal communicator and ways to communicate with nature. That's what I would take out of it.
I'm not getting anything negative here whatsoever.
No, it's not negative at all.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Kimberly says, Teacher Barb, are you and yours in my morning prayer candle tomorrow? Also love and light. Yes. Okay. Georgia Peach. I like that, Georgia Peach. What will become of Trump's 2 older sons?
Oblivion. They go away.
I'm sorry, say again.
I said oblivion. They go away. I don't know if they're going to do time, but if anyone takes the fall for anything, it's going to be Eric. I feel like using him as a scapegoat for some reason, what I just heard.
Well, I see one of them getting into a lot of legal problems.
Mm-hmm.
And might even be indicted. Now they're going to say, it's a witch hunt. Look what they're doing.
Well, don't act like a witch.
Thank you. All right. I don't like to really read on the health of really well-known people because I don't want to ever intrude on their privacy.
Well, we don't have to.
But I'm just going to put this up. Heather J.M. says King Charles has paused his cancer treatment to go to Australia. What's going on with his health? I'm not going to answer that. I'm not being mean about it. I just do not want to intrude on his privacy. The fact that he stopped his cancer treatment doesn't mean anything. I mean, if it's radiation, you have to go through the whole regimen. But I just think he wants to have some quality to his trip in Australia.
Well, what I just got was depending on what's happening. If his doctors felt he would listen to his doctors.
Correct.
That's what I'm getting here.
That's okay. Good.
That's all I'm going to say.
Heather J.M. says California District 3 has the worst MAGA congressman. Any chance he will be booted? His name
That's
is.
what we just read about.
Riley. Yes. Okay. I see him out. Star says hi, Mel and Arthur. Aloha, Mel and Arthur. Welcome back. All right. I'm scrolling here. Kimberly says voices from the swamp. Guess something about shopping in the same stores. Okay. Here, Debbie Smith says, hello, Mel and Arthur. Also, hello to you, Sherry. My thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Florida. I'm in North Carolina. My cousin's a path of Milton, but did not leave. I can understanding not wanting to leave Florida, but I cannot understanding not evacuating, you know.
He might show up at the last minute.
All right. let's see here. Okay, let's take a look at this. Marianne Coates says, it's starting to look like Milton has set his heart on visiting Miami. The track is trending a bit south. Now, psychically, I had said yesterday on Linda Grindel's channel, I see it going a bit further south than what they had anticipated. So I'm thinking Mar-a-Lago is going to get some real damage.
What's going to happen to the crime scene?
I think it'll hit closer to West Palm Beach, you're right, but Miami's going to get some strong winds from it. I mean, this storm is massive. It's huge.
Well, it went back to a 3-4, now it's back to a 5 again. And it went from 1 to 5 in 18 hours. You know, category 1 to category 5 in 18 hours. And then it came down a little bit and got bigger, and now it's back to a 5. So this is what we were predicting back in March, Mel.
And there's going to be level 6 hurricanes whipping up from the Gulf hitting. I mean, this is just a taste of what's yet to come. We've got to get this climate change under control.
Well, the Gulf is 2 to 4 degrees warmer right now.
Correct.
That's the reason.
And historically, when those hurricanes flipped up through the Gulf, they were more ferocious because, as I said earlier, the Gulf warm air fuels them. And now with that degree of warming, hello.
I mean, we had a hurricane here in California since the first time in the 20s, because the water's getting warmer.
Right. Okay. Cynthia says, hello, loves. About a month ago, I asked about hurricanes hitting Cape Coral. Arthur, you said, check your insurance.
Wow.
Which, if you can afford it in Florida, because they made it so prohibitively expensive. And I was talking to a friend of mine in St. Croix this morning, and she said hurricane insurance down there is really more than a mortgage payment. It's ridiculous. So I see legislation being passed so that these insurance companies will not be able to price gouge for insurance and just can't cancel it willy-nilly. So, okay. Arthur said, check your insurance. Back-to-back hurricanes. My husband says he won't leave. Will we be okay? Okay, Cynthia. I'm not going to answer any questions about, people not evacuating being okay. Because if I say they're going to be okay, that gives them a reason not to evacuate. I am going to say this. As much as you might dislike Governor DeSatan down there, but those people, dealing with hurricanes down there and the weather, predicting the weather and the public health people and all that, they know what they're doing. DeSatan doesn't, but other people do. And when they tell people to evacuate, they mean just that. Because when a hurricane that big hits, even a much smaller one, if there's a medical emergency, guess what? Medical emergency personnel cannot get through.
Correct.
And if you're flooded in your house and your house is floating away or being blown away, sometimes standing on a rooftop doesn't work. So if they're telling you to evacuate, you need to evacuate. Your life could depend on it.
I mean, let's face it. Mel gets a notice to evacuate when it's a tornado. You run.
I do, because I was in one once. And when those sirens go off, I go in the basement. I'm not going to mess around.
No.
Gary will stand outside, him and the neighbors. And I go, well, when the wind comes and carries you to Oz.
Not the way I say hi.
In the basement.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just praying that everyone evacuates that's instructed to do so. That's my prayer.
Right.
Okay. Here, somebody says, if it tracks south, it could be the landfall area likely to experience some of the surge. So people along the coast, the storm surge is going to go way inland. But I also, as I said earlier, because of the amount of rain, it's going to cause rivers to swell and flood, and streams as well. So even inland, people are going to experience flooding, but this storm surge is going to be huge. I mean,
it's also going from the Gulf to the Atlantic. So it's going to cross the state.
Right. It's going to go clear across the state. And if you look at how big it is, it's humongous.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, let's see. Somebody said something in French. I am just trying to find questions here. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Everybody's saying hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, Lisa Foster. I was hoping you'd be on tonight. Lisa, I kind of know the outcome that happened with your kitty cat. So everybody, I'm being told to tell you that cat is going to send you another cat. So, all right. Connie B says, show us the food of your trips. I will, I promise. All right. Let's see here. Highlight Seeker, Cynthia. Sherry from the Swamp is doing prayers tomorrow at 3, according to Linda G. We're all going to be doing prayers tomorrow. Kevin Lewis is in the house.
Hi, Kevin.
Kevin did a wonderful seminars, teachers. He's an excellent teacher. So let's see. Kevin Loving Vibration is in the house. He said it's a wonderful event. Glad to have been a part of it. Thank you, both Kevins, for being there. And I'll be on Kim Copeland's show tomorrow. She'll be on my show tomorrow night live. Kevin Chandler, Kevin's Loving, will be on my show Thursday live. So I've got a lot of shows this week.
You're getting back on track.
Yes. Okay. Baby Blue has a question, and Baby Blue asks, will the report that just came out about Trump halting the FBI investigation into Kavanaugh, will the FBI start up again? Will Kavanaugh resign or have to be taken off the court? I'll let you answer it first.
Besides that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? He's in trouble. We've always said he's in trouble. And from day one. And I've always felt he's going to be off the bench as we get into the new administration. They may have to question him, but I feel he will be gone. That's how I'm going to read it. And part of the FBI not following through on what they were supposed to do is going to be part of it as well. Yes.
I have always seen like him off the bench. And I've often said when that investigation was stopped, that I saw it starting again.
Yes.
And we haven't heard the end of Christine Blasey Ford, by the way.
Thank God.
I see 3 justices off the court. Clarence Thomas, 1, because I see him under indictment. Aileen Cannon better watch her P's and Q's because the 11th Circuit Court is going to overturn her dismissing the Trump charges.
Yes.
Clarence Thomas is in big trouble, and he knows it. Alito also, Clarence Thomas's wife. And, Kavanaugh's not out of the woods. I keep seeing 2 or 3 justices impeached, and if they're smart, they'll resign while they're going through the impeachment process. So I see a new court. It's going to change. I'm telling you all. But let me say something. We cannot take this election for granted. Everyone, please vote.
Right. You're voting for an administration. You're voting for a whole Supreme Court. You're not just voting for a person.
Right. Absolutely. I had an interesting question. People are wondering, because of the 2 hurricanes hitting back to back in Florida, what effect will that have on people's ability to vote? And will that hurt the election in favor of Kamala? What do you think, Arthur?
I don't feel it's going to hurt the voting. I mean, yeah, here and there, but it's not going to be enough that like all of a sudden Kamala loses all her votes in Florida. I don't see that.
I see Florida going purple at some point.
I actually also see that Rick Scott's on a razor thin margin right now.
Well, DeSatan, well, he can't run again, but
No.
I feel like a Democrat winning if they count the votes correctly down there, because I think people have had it with what DeSatan is doing with hurricane insurance and all that stuff.
Right.
Okay. Here's a good one.
And hello, Aries Wanderer.
Hi, Aries Wonder. She was delightful. A lot of the people that watch us, we got to meet at the Chicago event, and everyone was really delightful. I want to thank everyone for your support. It was wonderful. I mean, and wonderful for your support here on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Frazier, love you too. Thank you. Will the Menendez brothers be released? I pray they won't be.
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
All right. Let's see here. I'm still just scrolling. Everybody's saying hi. Okay, here we go. Yeah, everybody, if you put your questions in all caps so I can find them as I'm scrolling. Jessica Mason said, will the Woodward information about Trump giving a shipment of COVID tests to Putin and his 7 calls to Putin since leaving office lose him a lot of support? Well, more's going to come out about that.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Arthur. What do you think?
Unfortunately, the people that are supporting Trump, like you said, he could shoot somebody in the middle of Times Square and still get away with it. So,
well, I think what it's going to do is help a lot of independents make up their mind.
yeah, the independents will, yes.
His tiny base is his tiny base. That's not going to change.
It's like his crowd size getting smaller.
Correct. But it's going to come out about, what these calls entailed. And I did read, by the way, Jack Smith's listing. There was 83 pages of it that the Judge Chutkan said had to be made public. And a lot of it was stuff we knew, but it's pretty damning. And
the stuff we didn't know.
Just go online, all right, and you can get it. And they redact some of it, but read it. I'm telling everyone to read it.
Yeah, but the redactions are really easy to break. It's not like,
They just put P1, C1, so you know who.
Person of interest 1, or, co-conspirator 1. Gee, right. Can we say Giuliani? Can we say Mark Meadows?
Everybody read it. It's easy to get. I read it, and I was like, whoa. I couldn't stop reading it when I started. Usually I want to fall asleep when I'm reading something.
It's like I'm reading a spy novel. It really is.
Oh my God. It's like we're talking about the president of the United States here. It was very frightening, the shit he pulled. Oh, did I just say that?
I didn't hear anything.
So the Woodward information is correct. Trump's going to say it's not. And I think they were talking about, the whole Hamas thing. Trump knew a lot. Don't kid yourself. And I think he gave Putin a lot of our secrets too. I know he did.
You don't have to be psychic to know that one.
Right. Thank you. Hi, Viviani. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Rose Blue. Now, I don't know about this. Arthur, do you know anything about it? Connie B says, is there a hurricane turning around in the Atlantic right now too? That I do not know.
I'm not sure. That I don't know. I do know yesterday it was frightening watching a weatherman for over 20 years experience looking at Milton and starting to cry. That's how bad it is.
Right. Yes, Milton is going to be worse than Helene. Milton is a level 5, and it could even go up to a 6. I pray that it doesn't. But if people will evacuate, that will seriously limit the loss of life.
Right.
If they don't, it's going to make the death count go really high. And then instead of a rescue mission, it becomes a mission of recovering dead bodies. And I'm not trying to be.
No, you're not trying to be fearful, but you're just being honest.
I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. It's just you don't mess with this stuff. You just don't.
You don't mess with Mother Nature. Remember the commercial?
There you go. Marjorie Donald says, I'm so sick of the Yeti and his lies. The election can't come soon enough for me. Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm. From your mouth to God's ears.
Okay. So
you can't fall asleep now. You have to vote. Then you can go to sleep.
I'm sorry, say again.
A friend of mine said, I wish I could just fall asleep, wake up, and it's all over. I said, well, you can do that, but vote first.
You got to vote.
I got my election in the mail today.
Gary got his mail-in ballot, but I don't do my mail-in. I like to go to the voting center. I like to do it on the touch screen, or I'll do it on the paper and I watch them feed it through, and then they give you a little receipt.
Well, here in California, it's all coded, so you can check and see where if your ballot was received. If there's any problems, right away.
So for all of those people who say the Biden administration isn't doing enough, Rose Blue, DeSatan refused Harris's 3 calls.
Right.
And that's true. And so.
And Biden tried to call him as well.
Right.
But he did accept the aid from Helena. This
is really a good point. Marianne Coates said, what happened to the rights whole? It's up to the states. Yeah, they always pull that back when it comes to FEMA. Well, when it benefits them politically, of course they backtrack on it.
Of course.
Lisa Foster has it right. Get out when they tell you to evacuate.
Well, I would put a T and an F in there too. But and Laura Loomer, God, what she wrote on her page the other day was, don't apply for FEMA. She's telling people there's no more FEMA. Don't apply.
That's not true. There is.
I know that. I'm just saying that's what she's putting out there to people.
And you know what's going to come out? Elon Musk is going to get in a lot of trouble. And I see him sued bigly, huge for the lies he's put forward on his platform.
Well, it's one thing to say something, but it's another to cause people their lives.
He's going to have to pay a lot of money.
On many levels.
Lots of money. And that could very well bankrupt hit that platform. So let's see here. Okay, I like this. Michelle L says, will Hurricane Milton flood Trump's golf course at Mar-a-Lago? What do you think, Arthur?
Well, didn't he once try to overflow the pool so it would flood?
I'm sorry, say again?
Remember he's trying to get the pool guy to put water onto the documents. So
I do see that Mar-a-Lago getting significant.
I get that area getting messed up. I will say that.
And then Trump's going to say, they didn't come and help me fast enough. Yeah,
I can't wait till his former wife's grave starts to rise.
Kevin Loving Vibrations, you are absolutely 100% on this. Milton is going to be a historic hurricane.
Yes.
And take it seriously.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Kevin.
Okay. Mercury Angel, so sick of Trump, and now he has Elon Musk repeating his BS. When will Musk go away? I see Musk under a lot of legal issues as well. And my light bulb just went on. And he better be careful because I see him in court. I see him going through trials. And it probably is civil lawsuits, but also something that's criminal as well.
I've always said that he's still going to get in trouble with turning off Starlink or whatever it's called during the first invasion of the Russians into Ukraine. So the Ukrainians could not communicate. He's going to get in trouble with that, with the government.
Kathleen, I can't pronounce it, Bourgeot or whatever. Do you see as category 5 again? Yes, it is going to be a category 5.
It already is.
And I see at least 165 mile an hour winds. I don't know if they're sustained, but at least 155 sustained or more. So, okay. All right. So Christian Martinez says, hi, Arthur. You said I'd get a phone for a job and phone call for a job. Unfortunately, it was to tell me that I did not get the position. Okay, but that doesn't mean you won't get a job soon. And I see the number 2. It could be 2 days, 2 weeks. I don't think it's 2 months. It could be 2:00 in the afternoon. I see a phone call coming through from some interviews you've done, and they're saying you have the position.
If I recall, though, I said you may not get the job that you applied for, but they may call you back for another job there because you did well with them.
Right.
That's what I did say originally. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Kim G says, Mel and Arthur, will the reproductive rights bill pass in Montana? I don't know what it is. Have you heard about it, Arthur?
No, I haven't. But if it's anything to do about like making abortion legal, I feel it passes.
Well, at some point, Roe v. Wade is going to be upheld.
Oh, it's going to be
We
a thing
haven't
of the past.
So Jessica Mason says, Georgia's Supreme Court just reinstated the abortion ban. Will this see Harris win Georgia because they see women as breeding stock and women dying doesn't bother that court? At some point, I see a different Supreme Court in Georgia and a different Supreme Court for SCOTUS. And I see Roe v. Wade being upheld. So it's sad that people are dying. But this is going to really galvanize women down in Georgia to vote.
I hate to put it this way, but they're making people into martyrs.
Yes, they are.
Unfortunately.
Yes, they are. And women are going to stand united, Democrat, Republican, Independent, and say, wait a minute. The governor needs to keep its eyes out of our uteruses.
Same in Texas.
And their hands out of our pocketbooks. The same in Texas. Yep. Okay. Okay, so here again, the mayor of Tampa said, leave the evacuation zone or die. Okay.
That's saying like it is.
Okay. Sokilal, I think. Sukilal, I can't pronounce it.
Kunz. Do you see Kunz winning Josh Hawley in Missouri?
No,
Yes.
the name of the person.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Do you see Kuntz winning? Sorry about that. Okay, Mel, stop. Whoa.
And then there was the time when Mel said,
there was that Freudian slip. Do you see Kuntz?
That's your Halloween costume. He's going to show up in the slip and call himself Freud.
Winning instead of Josh Hawley in Missouri. What do you think, Arthur?
Yes.
I see Josh Hawley gone, and he ain't out of the woods either. But
I see him skipping away just like he did when Jan 6. Like a little schoolgirl.
All right. Let me see here. Okay. This is a good one. Colorful foresight. I like that. Meldor, Arthur. What will the USA look like once President Kamala has been in White House office for 2 years? I see a new court. I see a lot of women's rights being restored. I see LGBTQ rights being codified, women's rights codified. I see a lot of money put into infrastructure, a lot of money invested for climate change, creating green energies, which will create jobs. I mean, she's going to have her work cut out for her, but she's not going to care if somebody's Democrat, Republican, or whatever. Once the Trump MAGA people are gone, at some point, people will want to reach across the aisle and start working for the good of this country again.
Well, what I always say is, what will it look like? The words compassion and empathy, as opposed to hate and bigotry. And there's a lot, like you said, Mel, there's a lot of work to be done, but everyone will be rolling up their sleeves and getting it done because they'll be allowed to. There won't be restrictions.
There you go. Okay. Christian Martinez, Mexico's new president is meeting with President Bukele of El Salvador. Do you see Mexico closing the border and fight the cartels? What I see is them really cracking down on who comes into Mexico and really cracking down on the cartels. I'm sure that the new president is already, I'm sure she's beefed up her security because the cartels will want to take her out, but they won't succeed. She's really going to crack down on it.
I don't see them closing the border completely.
No, I don't either. But the program in El Salvador, she's going to put forward in Mexico. And I keep seeing like a Central South American Union, almost something like the European Union, where in the beginning, 3 or 4 countries will join, and then more will, so they'd have a common currency, probably the peso. And I like the idea of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see here. Arthur, if you see any,
Yeah, Athea Armstrong. Mel, you are a treasure.
oh,
I
what
mean
else?
that. He is. He really is.
Okay. All right, here's a good one. Connie B, will Eli Crane lose Arizona District 2 congressional race? Please say yes. He's done nothing.
If he wins, it's because of dark money and shenanigans, but I don't see him winning.
Okay. Good. Give me 1 second here. I'm just looking. I'm just trying to get to all the questions here. Okay. Rose Blue asked one here. It says, will Congress oust Mike as SOH? I don't know what SOH means. You all, when you ask these questions, please don't abbreviate certain letters because sometimes we don't know what they mean. Abuse of power and declaration of duty before or after the election. He refused to call Congress in to add dollars to FEMA.
Right. He didn't call them in. Yeah,
I
he's
don't
going to
know
get in trouble for that.
I don't know what SOH stands for, but I do see him gone at some point.
Well, I have certain letters, but I can't say that out loud.
I'm sorry.
I said I have certain letters that it could mean, but I can't say it out loud.
Yeah, there you go. But okay. So I do see him.
Speaker of the House.
Okay, here's the good. Oh, Speaker of the House. I'm sorry, I didn't know what it meant. Okay. Now I know what that means. Yeah, Johnson is going to be like, I don't want to say go. He's just going to be a nothing burger, as Linda Grindle would say, after this election.
I know I should have got my T-shirt out.
Yeah, me too. I held it up the other day, yesterday, when I was doing a show with Linda.
Linda gave everyone a T-shirt that said, Linda G says, it's a nothing burger.
It was a picture of a hamburger.
Yeah.
Or cheese.
Well, it's a picture of a nothing burger.
Okay, Jessica Mason. Regarding King Charles, Australia and England look out for each other with medical issues at little to no cost. If King Charles needed ongoing treatment, he could get it while there. So thank you, Jessica, for clarifying that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I still felt if his doctors told him not to go, he wouldn't. Anyway, moving on.
DLC says, have a U.S. representative that is awful. Any chance Fishbach will get voted out. In her commercials, she brags about being a major Trump follower, voting with him 99% of the time.
Well, that says it right there.
Well, that doesn't mean that she's necessarily going to lose, but
no, I'm just saying.
But I do see her voted out.
I don't see the odds being in her favor.
But here again, the opponent's got to knock on a lot of doors.
Yeah.
All right. Nor Garcia says, hello, Mel and Arthur. What is the October surprise? When do you see it being released? Who said there was going to be one?
Well, I said the surprise was Trump's still living. But no, I always said the stuff, the January 6th stuff that Jack Smith has, there's still more revelations about to hit the fan.
Well,
even though the 65 pages have been released, there's still other stuff underneath it all.
Well, I think it might be after the election when Cannon's rule will be overturned, but I think with Judge Chutkan saying that they could make public that indictment record or whatever it was, that was a huge surprise. I mean, folks got to read it. And I think there's a couple more big hitters coming out before the end of the month. So that's what I see. All right.
I'll get my Crayola crayons and rewrite it for Trump so we can read it.
Okay, so here is somebody says here that Aries Wanderer, her sister lives in eastern Tennessee, about 10 miles from where patients had to be rescued from the rooftop of a hospital. And a lot of people are going to have to be rescued from rooftops in Florida. In fact, if Governor DeSantis is smart, he'll call out the National Guard to help. If he doesn't, Biden might send in federal troops to go down there and help people out.
Well, the whole thing with, especially with Georgia, FEMA and troops were on the ground 2 days before anything hit, you know? And then for Trump saying nobody was there, again, blatant lie.
Marianne Coates said, thanks, Mel and Arthur. I don't see Miami getting hit. That was a joke, but I do see West Palm Beach being unprepared and costing a ton to fix after. I still see Miami getting strong
water. I get water.
And they could be getting storm surge in Miami. And I'm thinking, winds of 90 to 100 miles an hour there. So they will get hit, just not as bad as everybody else. And I still see damage to Mar-a-Lago. So, okay.
West Palm Beach, isn't that where David Pecker lives?
I don't know.
Or is that New York?
Tonari says all the focus is on the eastern part of Florida, but what about Melbourne, the eastern side of Florida? Thanks so much. I don't know where Melbourne is, but it's going to go across the state.
The whole state. The whole state.
It's going to do a lot of damage to the western side as well, because storm surge can also hit that. Most of the storms in the Atlantic, they're not as ferocious, but this storm is going to be.
Yeah, but the water temperature has risen both in the Gulf and on the east side in the Atlantic. So that's what's making this so horrible.
Right. I'm sorry. On the east side, I get it. Mm-hmm. Eastern side, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the eastern side is going to get hit really. It's going to go across the state, and it's not going to. It's not going to lose its any of its energy until it's the very end part of the hurricane. After the eye hits, then it'll start to dissipate. But that front and back wall, they're going to be huge.
Yeah,
do a lot of damage to eastern Florida as well. Okay. Some people are asking if I'm doing questions from what they posted on my community board. When we go live, usually I like people to ask questions in the live chat. So I'm trying to get to those and also the ones that people have posted on the community board. Okay. So let me see here. Okay. Here, Lightseeker Witch says, hi, dear Arthur and Mel. Given the intensity and frequency of hurricanes in certain parts of the USA, will the areas affected become so besieged by natural disasters that they become uninhabitable? Thank you both for all that you do. I don't see them becoming uninhabitable. I just see more ferocious storms and flooding and things like that, so that what do? You build stronger houses, and
building codes have to change. Certain
Correct.
Things have to change.
Correct. So, this climate change is accelerating at frightening rates.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't do something soon within the next 3 or 4 years, then it's really going to be bad. So we've got to do something. We can't ignore it. And for these politicians who say it doesn't exist, maybe they should take a trip to Florida.
Yeah.
It was 72 degrees here today in Chicago. In October the 8th. That's unheard of. 80. It's going to be 80 on Friday.
I'll be honest. I had like some winter clothes packed or ready to pack to go to Chicago. Then I looked at the weather. I'm like, it's warmer there than California right now.
I know. Well, the weather here when you guys were here was warm. We had those winds, but those were tailwinds coming from Helene.
Yeah.
I looked out the hotel and I saw the lake, and I told Gary, "Ooh, there's huge whitecaps out there today. It's something's brewing." All right. Jitterbug22 says, hi, Auntie Mel and Amazing Arthur. Welcome back. Will New York City Mayor Eric Adams be indicted and jailed? The bobblehead on the car.
Mm-hmm.
What is Mayor Adams' future? Well,
Can you play taps?
Stripes, orange sliders.
I'm hearing taps.
Okay. Okay, Lola Matrira says, why does the press continue to say how close the election is for the presidential race? Do they really believe it, or is it to try and sway voters in some way?
It's called clickbait.
Well, the polls are the polls, and it's who takes them and who they're polling. Kamala's really gained tremendously. And Alan Lichtman, he's a professor of history, and he's predicted every presidential win since Reagan. He got it right with Gore. Gore really did win, but the Supreme Court overturned it. But he's saying that Kamala's going to win unless something huge happens between now and election day. I don't mean the hurricane, but maybe some humongous world event. Okay. Here we go. Maria says, my brother and his wife live very close to Honeymoon Island, Dunedin, Florida. They evacuated and took a 90-something-year-old couple from the same complex.
God bless them.
That's a really good idea. If anybody living in Florida knows people that are elderly, not 70, give them a helping hand. If they have to evacuate, help them pack up, help them get out.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a very good question. Mimi Eichholz. Hi, Mimi. Nice Irish last name there, girlfriend. Eichholz. What will the effect be for Mike Johnson refusing to call the House of Representatives to pass FEMA SBA funding? Less votes for the GOP? Yeah.
Correct.
Huge nail in their coffin. They're vacationing like Cancun Cruise was doing, and you have a major storm that, like Kevin Chandler says, is going to make the history
books. Yeah.
And he didn't call them back from vacation. That's ridiculous. They should be in emergency session right now. Okay.
Well, it just shows their true colors.
Priyanka Arya says, hi, why hasn't George W. Bush publicly endorsed Kamala? Is he voting for Trump? George W. Bush is not going to vote for Trump.
I thought he already did. Maybe I'm wishful thinking, but I thought he said he was not going to vote for Trump.
He's not going to vote for Trump.
No, I think he said it publicly.
So him saying he's not going to vote for Trump is an endorsement for whom?
Yeah, exactly.
If you say what you're not going to do, it's obvious.
It ain't for JFK.
Right. All right. Here, I'm not going to read this, but everybody gets it. All right.
Oh, I'll say it. Get your ass out of Florida now.
You're on my channel. I'm going to go to YouTube jail. Here, this is a good one. Jessica Mason says, in Australia, we have to build houses graded to stand up to a certain cyclone level, which is their version of a hurricane. Of course, we still see damage and some destroyed, however, not like it was before the standards were enforced. Well, a lot of houses in Florida are built to withstand certain winds and things like that, but the older ones aren't. And there's still a lot of older ones there. And
in Japan, they've been building for years, waiting for tsunamis and earthquakes and everything.
But look at that tsunami that hit. As much as tsunami we thought they were,
it's still
right. Annie Moore says, whatever happened to Laura Loomer? Where is she? What do you think, Arthur?
And Ali Ashcan. She, I just said recently, she just posted on X, Twitter, whatever it's called, so Truth Social, for people in the Appalachia area not to contact FEMA. There's no more money. That's where she's at.
And anybody that dies because of it, they should.
Here's her address.
She's still around, but she's going to be horse meat as well.
Sure, he looks it. Oops.
Okay. All right. Nancy Robbins says, hi, you two wonderful men.
Aw.
Please, what is taking the DOJ so long to charge anyone in the Senate Congress for January 6th crime? What's really going on? Go ahead.
It takes time. Number one. Number two, Jack Smith is going after the head of the fish first. And then he's got, I see, when I've looked at this, I see him with over 200 names on files, ready to start handing things out once everything is taken down with Trump. It just takes time. Look, it took all this time to get Trump where he is now because of delays. It's moving forward. Do not give up hope.
Well, it's just like when the DOJ was, investigating January 6th, and people were, what's taking so long? What's taking so long? And my guides show me behind closed doors that the head of the DOJ, Merrick Garland, was whispering to people, and they kept it hush hush as to what they were doing. They're just not going to throw something on the wall and see what'll stick. They're going to want to make sure that they have enough evidence to convict. And you're right, these things take a long time. I'd rather see them take a longer time and get a conviction than to haphazardly do something
and somebody getting free. Then people say, "Oh, why don't you do something? Oh, look, how horrible you are."
Yeah, and make them look like a bunch of goofs. So there you go.
Take your time.
Right.
Get it right.
Okay. Sinsa 14 says, is Elon Musk going to get in trouble for election interference for offering $47 for MAGAs registering to vote for Trump? That is illegal. There's more stuff that's going to come out about him.
It's like his mother was telling people, "Oh, just get some illegal aliens to register Republican."
I see him having a lot of legal issues as a result of this.
Well, he has issues to begin with.
Okay, Crazy Shark 22 says, hi, Mel and Arthur. My family is traveling to Walt Disney World in Florida over the Christmas holiday. If it's not too damaged.
If it's still there.
Well, it'll be there. Do you see the weather being okay then? All these weather events are making us nervous. The weather will be okay then, yes. There's still going to be damage to some of the displays and rides and stuff. I can't say go or don't go, but I wouldn't cancel my plans. I wouldn't. If it were me, I'd go. Unless it's tomorrow. Which,
as Arthur always says, check your insurance.
Right. I'm going to use that one. Check your insurance.
Your trip insurance.
Right. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. We got time for probably two more.
Okay.
I think some backers will try to dump Trump and get the younger, creepier version, Vance. But after this, J.D. Vance, I think his career, if he wants to run for president, I don't know if he'll ever get the nomination. And I think after this election, hopefully it's pretty much the MAGA is kind of going down the tubes, if you will.
I have only one name, Dan Quayle.
Well, he'd look good compared to Vance at this point.
Dan Quayle looks like a Nobel laureate compared to him.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And we all have to give Mel a hand of applause for doing this all by himself.
For doing what? Oh, this?
Yeah.
I know.
We're backstage right now, and he's doing such a good job.
Lisa Foster said, you and Linda predicted that this would be a Hurricane 6 on your Monday show. Also, it will go way further inland. Yeah, it will. And
inland across the state.
I think it'll be a high 5. If it's a 6, a lower 6, but still, I think they do it by sustained winds. I don't know exactly how they rate them, but this is going to be
for the record books,
a huge historic hurricane. And guess what? This is just a sampling of what's yet to come if we don't get this under control.
Right.
All right. Francis says, what do you see for the next 3 days in West Florida? I have a cousin stuck there. If your cousin evacuated further inland, then they're going to be okay. If you're along the ocean, you've got to evacuate more than 4 or 5 miles inland. You got to go way inland.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be massive destruction. And I'm not being doomsday, and I don't want to.
No, you're saying like it is. Again, this is what you and I were predicting back in March.
Right. Okay. Here. Liz in All says, I'm getting bored with the bands hitting Cozumel, Mexico. The whistling is annoying, but grateful no direct hit. Praying for Florida. This is another superstorm. This is an absolute superstorm. Absolutely.
Yes.
Here. Jessica Mason says, DLC, sadly, with climate change, the standards might need to be set higher, but that increases building costs. It shouldn't if there's no price gouging. And if
Correct.
they set a higher standard, you know. All righty. Let's do one more from what people wrote. Okay. Sins of 14 says, any thoughts when the 11th Circuit will bring back the documents case? I think after the election, and I think they're going to
after the election, but before December 1st.
Correct. And I also feel like I don't know if they'll take her off the case, but I think
they'll hand it to someone else.
I see her off the bench. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, here's Jessica Mason again. Jessica says in 1974, when Cyclone Tracy hit Darwin on Christmas Day in Australia, our Aboriginal community left Darwin days before the weather forecast a cyclone. They are very switched on people. They were smart. They were very smart. All right. Here. And I like this one too. Michelle Ellie says evacuation is to protect you from the after effects of the hurricane rather than the hurricane itself. It's bad news if you're flooded in with no electricity and no access to vital supplies. That's true.
Correct.
It's for both.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave this with, if they are telling you to evacuate, do not be foolish enough to think you can write it out at home.
No.
That causes injuries and death.
No one's going to think you're not being brave. The brave thing is to get the hell out of there.
It's not about brave. It's about doing the smart, common sense thing. Okay, here we go. Voices from the Swamp, Sherry, we love you. I miss you. We'll be back on course, no pun intended, very soon. Andrew was a Category 5. Yes, I remember Hurricane Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Crossed Florida from the Atlantic to the Gulf, remained strength, and hit Louisiana as a Category 5. It made landfall directly south of us. A very scary night.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway. All right. So Arthur, if they want to get a hold of you, how do they do it?
They can reach my website, arthureaseyourmind.com, or 310-494-5955. And Mel, if they want to reach you,
call my office, 847-590-5411, or email me at www.meldor.com. Little infomercial. I have a few openings on my Italian and French Riviera cruise. Peru, I've got openings. They gave me more space. Yay. And some of you I haven't called. I will, I promise, before, within the next couple of days. And also I have openings, and that's September of next year, also on my Iceland tour in October of next year. So if you're interested, give us a call at the number below. Please hit thumbs up, subscribe. Go to Arthur's channel, thumbs up, subscribe. And to Sherry's channel, Kevin Lewis, Kevin Chandler, Kim Copeland, all the people in the community, Linda Grendel, thumbs up, subscribe.
Deanne and Aiden as well.
And Aiden as well. Yes, I forgot about Aiden. Hi, Aiden. My goal is to hit 30,000 subscribers within the next 6 months.
My goal is to hit the bar after this. Just kidding.
Well, you got to do this regularly, which I've just
I'm talking about ballet bar,
for 6 months, or 4 or 5 months in the summer, starting from June, July, August, September, October, I get a lot of travel in. And then the winter, I just
hibernate.
Right. So, Arthur, it's been a slice. It's been a pleasure. How did you like Chicago, by the way? Not the event, but the city.
Oh, I loved it. In fact, I took an extra day or two and stayed, and I went to the museum and saw a painting that I'd wanted to see for the last 40 years. The afternoon in the sun. The one at Sunday Park with George is created.
You went to the Art Institute?
Art Institute, yes.
The lions in front are incredible.
Spent the entire day there, but I did make a mistake. I was so taken back with Chicago, I walked all the way back to the hotel, and my feet were blistered.
That's a walk, because to get from the Art Institute even to Pippin's, that's a couple miles.
Yeah, it was. But I was just enthralled with everything, just taking my time, and it's such a wonderful city.
And then it's 3/4 of a mile to get from Pippin's to the Claridge house where you were staying. So you probably walked about 3 miles that day.
I did.
Well, if you round trip, we're talking more like 6.
Well, I Ubered it to get there, but then to come back, I walked, and I was just like taking my time and enthralled with everything about Chicago. In some sections of Chicago, reminded me of Philadelphia. It was very nice, and had a good time. But also, people at Pippin's were just wonderful. And Mel, I can't thank you enough for inviting me. It was a great time.
Thanks for showing up. I'm going to end this with Francis Diaz, who said, "Can't wait to vote Democratic all the way.
Vote blue no matter who."
Victory says she can't watch this with all the scrolling she likes, but the scrolling causes anxiety. Well, when we're doing live, unfortunately, you're going to see the
watch like this. Watch like this. Come on, you know it.
You're like that. But unfortunately, you're going to see the scrolling. There's nothing we can do about that. So here, one last thing. Talks Kazim says, I'm throwing the biggest remote party on November 5th. Booze, pizza, Wingstop, and CB. Oh, can't say that. And plants. We'll leave it at that. Okay. And Debbie says, and Debbie, this is brilliant. We are voting for our freedom. Please,
yes.
Country over politics. Vote blue. Down the
ticket.
All right.
Okay.
Arthur, next week on your channel.
You got it.
Everybody, thank you for your loving support. And aloha and
aloha.
Namaste.
Love y'all. Bye-bye.